This is the shortest Amazon FBA course you'll ever need. And in a few minutes, I'm gonna walk you through step by step everything I learned from scaling a business to over $40 million on Amazon and doing over $1 million every single month. Everything that I've personally learned running Amazon stores for over the past 6 years, what works, what doesn't, and what I would do differently if I had to start all over again. Let's get into it. Starting with step one. The game has changed. Since 2024, Amazon does not want to work with the random reseller. All those people out there still thinking you could just buy random goods on Alibaba or from Target, Walmart, Home Depot and start reselling them on Amazon's platform. I'll be real, it just does not work. Amazon's biggest fear is you as a new seller coming in and potentially selling fake things on their marketplace. So how do they protect themselves? Well, you have to get authorized or ungated to actually sell these products. So the first thing I would do if I'm starting right now today is I would work directly with brands. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to work with every brand out there. Why? Because certain brands are way too big to work with. If you're coming in with a 5K, 10K, 15, even 50K budget, and you go to brands like Nike, Lego, these brands that are doing multiple 8 and 9 figures a month on Amazon, they're not gonna wanna work with you. They're way too big. Here's what you wanna do. You wanna work with smaller brands that are just getting started on Amazon. And here's the second part of that. You wanna work with brands that Amazon isn't their primary focus. How do you know a brand that Amazon isn't their primary focus? It's really simple. Look for brands that have multiple resellers. I love to look for brands that have 3 or more resellers on the listings. What that signals to me is that, hey, this brand is actively working with resellers. Second thing, I look for brands that have slightly just to be transparent, effed up listings. Look at a brand that has like one photo, their title isn't fully optimized, they don't have videos. Those are the brands that you want to work with because what it signals to us is that those brands are making their sales elsewhere. They're probably in retail stores, they're probably running ads on TikTok or Shopify. They're somewhere else, but they're still making sales on Amazon because we all know it is the biggest marketplace. So the thing is that when brands are over there doing their marketing and everything elsewhere, where does the second or third or fourth sale go to? Amazon. Like, I'll tell you a quick story about a brand that we ended up making over 50K a month in profit from this one brand. They were doing a lot of marketing on TikTok. They were pumping out and having influencers create videos for them around the clock. And we were their partner on Amazon. And what would happen is, yes, someone will go and buy the brand on TikTok, but the second and third purchase would come to us on Amazon. Their primary focus was elsewhere on these marketing channels, but us as their retail partner and reseller on Amazon, we got to benefit from them. So when you're looking for brands, make sure that they're smaller brands that need some help growing. They need capital, so you just keeping them in stock and optimizing their listings on Amazon provide them a ton of value. Those are the brands that as they scale on their marketing spend over here, you get to ride that wave up with them on the other side. Now, the next thing you want to do is the math. I can't tell you how many times people come to me and they say, hey, is this a good brand? I'm like, I don't know, looks good. What does that mean? At the end of the day, it is all mathematical, right? How much profit can I make reselling this brand? Let's just say a brand is doing 100K a month and you look at a product and you say, hey, this product from that brand is doing around 20K a month. Okay, cool. There's 5 other sellers on it. And if I jump on, I could be the 6th seller. Then I will share the sales with those other sellers. Now, you know, mathematically, you are gonna get whatever 20 divided by 6 is gonna be like 3.5K, right? That's what's gonna be your revenue for that product. So when you do the math and you break it down, you actually understand like, okay, is this product worth my time? You don't want to go for products that are super minuscule, like they're bringing in a few hundred, few $1,000s a month, because now you're putting in all this effort closing that deal, talking to their brand, doing all these things. And at the end of the day, you're going to net what? A few $100s in profit. So always do the math. We use tools like Smart Scout and Ace and Zen to allow us to actually put this all together and actually find out the exact net profitability that we're going to get from a product. And what this allows us to do is actually find the brands that we should be going to and the ones we should be avoiding. It is that simple, but always make sure you're doing the math to make sure it is worth your time before going to these brands. Now, after you do the math and you know exactly how much money you should be making from a brand, here's the next best thing. Contact the decision maker. I can't tell you how many times I see people come and they say, hey, yeah, I reached out to this brand. I'm like, how did you reach out to them? And they're like, yeah, I went to their website and I went to the contact us page and I say, hey, I would love to get in business with you. And I'm like, do you think that you're talking to anyone of importance in that company when you go to that method? No, right? You want to actually do some research. Find out who the CEO is, the COO, the CMO, one of the owners. Get their contact information because those are the people that actually call the shots. Those are people you need to get in front of to actually be able to close a deal and create value for. Those are the only people that can say yes to working with you. Everything else is just noise. Now, here's the thing. When you reach out to these brands, make sure you are providing value. If you go and reach out to a brand and say, hey, I would love to get in business with you. I can't wait. I feel like it's going to be an amazing relationship. Yeah, great. But how? How do they know that? They get thousands of emails every day. You know, look at your inbox right now. I look at my inbox. Thousands of emails, people that will never get a response from me. I know it's the same thing on your end. But once somebody provides value to you, you all of a sudden start to trust them and want to work with them. So one of the easiest things to do when you reach out to a brand is actually show them a revenue gap. Show them what their competitors doing that they're not doing. That would drive revenue. A lot of the times you'll see there's a brand that is just like them, that is pulling a lot more money because they have better listings, better photos. It doesn't even need to be a better product, but it has better marketing. So if we can provide that revenue gap and show them what their competitors are doing that they're not, all of a sudden you provide enough value on the front end for them to be able to trust you, respond to you, and eventually what? Close a deal with you. Now, after you provide that value, here's what you gotta do. You gotta pitch a deal, right? The whole goal of this is to pitch a deal. Now, when you go and ask for their products, ask for it at the price that you need it at to be profitable. Here's the coolest thing about going directly to brands. They set the market price. There's always room for negotiation. You have to make sure it's beneficial for them and beneficial for you. So when I go to a brand and I say, hey, I'm looking to get to a 20% margin. How do we get there, right? It may be I need to buy more units. It may be a contract that I need to be in for a long amount of time, but something that allows me to actually lock in at the net profitability that I need. On the other side of that, let's say a brand is just like, not all brand owners are like geniuses, right? Let's say they just price their product wrong, where their margins are super thin. Guess what? We can raise their actual selling price so that we both make money. This is the power of going directly to brands. We control both what we buy it at, they can control that, and then we control what we sell it at. So we make sure that we both win. But always pitch a deal that is beneficial for both of you. And be okay with being able to move the top line number of sale and be able to actually just tell them, hey, this is the price I needed at to make money. Now, here is the golden nugget. This is arguably the most important part. When you reach out to brands, you gotta be okay with getting 3 things. Number 1, you have to be okay with getting some of the shitty products from them. Sometimes a brand will go to you and say, hey, I would love to do business. You provide a lot of value, but I'm not going to give you my top ranking products right now. I'll give you some of the more garbage ones. Be okay with that when you first start, because all you're trying to do is get your foot in the door. Like, the conversation switches as soon as you go from being just a lead, somebody I haven't spoken to actually being a customer and a business partner. So be okay with saying, hey, I'll take the product that's only pushing like 100, 200, 300 units a month, just to get my foot in the door, knowing that as this relationship grows, we'll be gunning for those more popular products later. Be A-okay with that. Number 2, be okay with taking slightly lower ROIs and profit margins when you first start. Like, I can't tell you how many people I talk to and they're like, man, if I'm not making a 30, 40% ROI, I'm not doing it. And I'm like, well, why? They're like, well, it's just not enough money. I'm like, so what's your money doing right now? And they're like, oh, it's in my savings account. Oh, it's on a credit card, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, dude, you have a 0 APR credit card, or you have money in your savings account making less than 1% a year, or if you're in an online banking, like 5% a year. But look, we can get into these and make maybe 15, 20% ROIs in like a month to a month and a half. Isn't it a better use of your capital? Absolutely. Be okay with taking lower profit margins or ROI to start the relationship. We will always be able to push those numbers up as you build in a relationship. But don't go in guns blazing, I gotta make this amount of money. That is not how you start a relationship, right? This is the soft skills that you need to actually succeed in this business. And number 3 is be open to alternate sales channels. Sometimes you'll talk to a brand and they say, hey, look, I'm working with someone on Amazon right now or Amazon US, but I might be open to doing something else. Be okay with selling their products on Walmart or Amazon Canada, Mexico. Like, just be open to new things. Even sometimes we've talked to brands where like they're selling a 1-pack and we're like, you know what? You don't have a 2-pack. Let us just sell a 2-pack for you. Be okay with just getting your foot in the door and making it work, because I'm telling you, this is how you build a relationship. Yes, this is an e-commerce business, but trust me, like most businesses, this is a relationship game. If that walkthrough was a little too fast and you want an actual step-by-step breakdown of what I would do if I was starting over from the beginning, step-by-step, click here to watch what I would personally do if I was starting over from scratch today. In that video, I'm gonna break down step-by-step exactly what we do to do over $1 million per month in our Amazon business, from setting up things the right way, to finding the right suppliers and brands, to picking the right products, to actually building a real scalable business. Just take the same systems we've used and apply it to your own store. I'll see you there.